Well, I think when Prime Minister Modi was in Myanmar, there was already a refugee situation. And there was a lot of comment on the fact that while being there, and despite the fact that India has a lot of influence in Myanmar, Aung San Suu Kyi, the leader he was dealing with, is somebody who has grown up in many ways in India. I think there was a disappointment that he did not take that opportunity to perhaps publicly speak. He probably did speak behind the scenes on the subject of the refugees having to flee, but it didn't come out in a statement. And I think the government realized that, because just 2 days later they did issue a statement which reflected their concerns about the situation. Look, the Rohingya situation does not date back just a couple of years. It goes back pre-partition, in fact, and there has been an ongoing tussle between Bangladesh and Myanmar on the subject, especially since 1982, when Myanmar decided in its constitution to not recognize them as citizens and made them stateless. That situation is now 40 years old. So it continues. It's 30 years old already. I think India has tried to please all in terms of going to Myanmar and saying that we support you on your fight on terror, and speaking to Bangladesh and saying we support you on the subject of the refugees. But I think the important thing is to recognize that the problem of refugees is not just feeding them and clothing them and giving them shelter. The problem of refugees is to stop the violence that is causing them to flee from where they are fleeing from. And I think until our government, or any government, until the international community doesn't put the pressure over there on where these people are having to leave their homes while their citizenship is worked out and all the rest of that, I think you're not going to fix the problem, because there will always be a problem with these refugees. India has already got an issue where in 2012 they had 40,000 approximately Rohingya refugees moved to India. And today when they talk about trying to deport them, they don't know where to deport them to. Myanmar won't take them back. Bangladesh cannot cope with any more refugees. So in order to stop this kind of cycle that you are living with, simply because obviously you want to do the right thing by the refugees, you want to find safety for them first and then feed and clothe them and shelter them, you do at the end of the day want to actually attack the problem. Address where they are coming from, why are they having to flee, and what is the government of Myanmar doing to stop the violence there. My sense is that the problem of Rohingya refugees in India did not arise from the other parts where they are. After all, they are in 6 states in the country. They're in Jammu and Kashmir, they're in Delhi, they're in Rajasthan, they're in Haryana, they're in the south as well. The problem arose from a specific area of Jammu, because there are about 18 families that are also in Kashmir, where the political party there decided that they wanted to make this an issue and clear them out. And I think the government was responding to that. All governments will respond to their constituencies, and I think that is important. Possibly the timing was wrong, because the timing for talking about deporting these refugees who've been here for 5 years already seemed to coincide with the time when lakhs are fleeing Myanmar at present. And it also eventually comes up against a principle called non-refoulement, which is an international principle. I think the government didn't necessarily think all of this through, and we'll probably only know exactly where the government wants to head with it on Monday when they produce their case in court.